Welcome back to USA Coins 69, your ultimate destination for discovering rare, valuable, and sometimes unbelievable coins from the United States. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might be hiding in your pocket change right now, the Washington quarter dollar from 1994. At first glance, it might look like just another quarter, a coin you see every day when paying for your coffee or filling your gas tank. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary coin could actually be worth a small fortune? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll discover just how much this 1994 Washington quarter could be worth, and it's nothing short of astounding. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been an iconic part of American currency since 1932, originally issued to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the decades, it has seen countless variations and mintings, each reflecting a moment in American history. By 1994, the Washington quarter was already a staple in everyday circulation, yet like many coins of that era, a few rare pieces were minted in a way that makes them extremely valuable to collectors today. The 1994 quarter might seem modern, but its story is layered with details that make it a fascinating treasure for anyone passionate about coins. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1994 Washington quarter so special. On the obverse side, you have the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Every line, every detail of Washington's face, has been carefully sculpted to honor the first president of the United States. What's remarkable about these quarters, particularly for collectors, is the quality of the strike. Some 1994 quarters were minted with exceptional precision, leaving the coin in a state that almost seems untouched by time. The crispness of Washington's profile, the sharpness of the lettering, and the flawless edges are what collectors dream of finding. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted with the eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches, a symbol of strength, peace, and unity. The level of detail in the feathers, the arrows, and even the texture of the branches can make a huge difference in value. Coins with exceptionally clear details, often referred to as gem mint state coins, are highly sought after in the collecting world. Even small imperfections, or the complete lack thereof, can create dramatic differences in the coin's worth, but there's more to this story than just design and detail. Rarity is key in the world of coin collecting, and the 1994 Washington quarter has a few hidden secrets that make certain coins incredibly desirable. While millions were minted that year, only a small percentage have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most quarters, as we all know, pass through countless hands, getting scratched, nicked, or worn down over time. But for those lucky enough to find a quarter that has been carefully preserved, it's like holding a piece of history frozen in perfect condition. These coins are the crown jewels for collectors, and the market value reflects that exclusivity. Adding to the excitement are rare minting errors. Occasionally, a coin may be struck slightly off-center, have doubled lettering, or even show unusual variations in the metal composition. These quirks, while seemingly minor, make the coin one of a kind and exponentially more valuable. Collectors actively search for these anomalies because they stand out from the millions of standard issues. If you happen to find a 1994 Washington quarter with one of these unique errors, you could be holding a coin that's not only a piece of history but a true collector's gem. The 1994 quarter is also part of a fascinating time in American numismatics. The early 1990s were a period of high-quality minting from the U.S. Mint, and coins from this era often combine historical significance with modern minting perfection. For collectors, coins like these represent both the past and the future of coin collecting, a bridge between generations, a piece of the everyday life of the 1990s, preserved perfectly for decades. Now comes the moment every collector and treasure hunter has been waiting for, the value reveal. If you happen to have a 1994 Washington quarter dollar in exceptional, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $90,500. Yes, you heard that right, $90,500 for a single 1994 Washington quarter. A coin that might have once bought you a simple cup of coffee could now be your ticket to a small fortune. That's the magic and thrill of coin collecting. What seems ordinary in your pocket today might be a treasure beyond imagination tomorrow. So, if you've got a collection of quarters, it's time to take a close look. Examine the details, check the edges, and see if you might be holding onto something incredible. One small coin could change everything. Today, we're traveling back in time to explore a coin that might be hiding in your collection, in your pocket, or even forgotten in a jar at home, the Washington $quarter from 1979. At first glance, it may look like just another quarter, something you've seen 1,000 times. But don't let its everyday appearance fool you. This coin holds a story of history, artistry, and rare value that every collector dreams of. Stick with me until the end, because you won't believe how much this single 1979 quarter could be worth today. Let's start by looking at the history behind this coin. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on the 200th anniversary of his birth, and it quickly became a symbol of American pride. By 1979, the quarter had already been a fixture in everyday life for nearly 50 years, circulating through hands in grocery stores, banks, and markets all across the nation. But 1979 was a special year in numismatic terms. It was a time when the U.S. Mint was producing coins with remarkable precision, and the demand from collectors for high-quality coins was increasing. This combination of history, production, and preservation is what makes the 1979 Washington quarter such a fascinating treasure today. Now, let's talk about the design, because every detail matters. On the obverse side, you'll find the familiar profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The craftsmanship of this portrait is remarkable. The sharpness of the features, the careful detailing of Washington's hair and expression, all reflect the artistry and precision of the U.S. Mint at that time. Coins from 1979 that retain this level of detail without signs of wear are rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the iconic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches. This design is not just beautiful, it's symbolic. The arrows represent the strength and readiness of the nation, while the olive branches signify peace. For collectors, the clarity of these features can make a huge difference. Coins with the eagle's feathers, arrows, and branches sharply defined are highly sought after because they represent the coin in its purest form, just as it left the mint over 40 years ago. But there's more than just design that makes the 1979 quarter special. Rarity and condition are key. Millions of quarters were minted that year, and most were used in everyday transactions. Over the decades, countless coins were lost, damaged, or circulated until the details wore away. But for the collector who finds a coin in uncirculated, pristine condition, it's like discovering a hidden time capsule. The edges remain crisp, the lettering perfectly sharp, and the surfaces free of scratches or marks. These coins are the holy grail for collectors, and they are becoming increasingly difficult to find as the years go by, and it gets even more interesting. Some 1979 Washington quarters have rare minting errors that make them even more valuable. A coin might be struck slightly off-center, display doubling on the lettering, or have a subtle variation in the metal that makes it one of a kind. These errors, while minor to the casual eye, are highly prized in the collector world. They stand out from the millions of regular coins and can dramatically increase the coin's market value. Imagine finding a coin that not only survived in perfect condition but also has a unique feature that no one else has. That's the kind of treasure that makes collectors' hearts race. The 1979 quarter is also part of a fascinating period in American history. The late 1970s were a time of cultural and economic shifts in the United States, and coins from this era carry a subtle yet powerful snapshot of that time. Each quarter tells a story, not just of the mint, but of the country itself, its economy, and its people. Holding a well-preserved 1979 quarter is like holding a piece of living history, a reminder of where we've been and the craftsmanship that has endured for decades. Now, the moment everyone's been waiting for, the value reveal. If you have a 1979 Washington $quarter in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $112,800. Yes, you heard that right, $112,800 for a single 1979 Washington quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin once used to buy everyday items could now hold such extraordinary value. That's the magic of coin collecting, the stories, the artistry, and the hidden fortune waiting to be discovered in something as small as a quarter. So, if you've got a jar of old coins, a forgotten collection, or a few quarters lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Examine them carefully. Check the edges, the details, and see if you might be holding a treasure that could change everything. Today, we're diving into a coin that many people overlook every single day, the Washington quarter dollar from 1983. On the surface, it may look like a simple quarter, something you see in change all the time. But don't be fooled by appearances. This coin holds a story of history, design, rarity, and value that is nothing short of incredible. Stick with me until the end, because the number I'm about to reveal might just blow your mind. Let's start by going back in time to 1983. The early 1980s were a unique period in American history, marked by change, innovation, and cultural evolution. The Washington quarter had been circulating for over 50 years, remaining a staple of American currency, but each year's minting carries its own nuances, its own potential for rarity, and the 1983 quarter is no exception. Coins from this year were produced in large numbers, yet only a small percentage survived in near-perfect condition. For collectors, that's what makes these coins so fascinating, the intersection of history, scarcity, and quality. Now, let's talk about the design, because every detail of the Washington quarter matters. On the obverse side, you'll see the iconic portrait of George Washington, crafted by the talented John Flanagan. Look closely at the lines in his hair, the subtle details in his face, and the crisp lettering around the edge. Coins from 1983 that preserve this level of detail, without any wear or scratches, are extremely rare. These uncirculated coins capture the artistry of the U.S. Mint at its finest, allowing you to see Washington's profile exactly as it was envisioned decades ago. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted with the eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches. This design is more than just decoration, it's full of symbolism. The arrows represent strength and readiness, while the olive branches stand for peace. Coins from 1983 that maintain the sharpness of these details, the intricacy of the feathers, and the clarity of the arrows and branches are highly prized. The more precise and well-preserved the details, the higher the value in the collector market. Rarity plays a huge role in the value of this coin. While millions of quarters were minted in 1983, most of them were used in everyday transactions, gradually accumulating scratches, dents, and wear. Over time, these coins lost their original sharpness, and finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is becoming increasingly rare. A quarter that has been perfectly preserved for over 40 years is like holding a time capsule in your hand, a direct connection to 1983, untouched by decades of circulation. Adding to the intrigue are rare minting errors. Occasionally, a coin might be struck slightly off-center, display doubling in the lettering, or show other subtle variations. These error coins are extremely valuable because each one is unique. Even a small deviation from the standard minting process can make a coin a collector's dream. Imagine finding a 1983 Washington quarter that not only survived in perfect condition but also has a rare minting error that sets it apart from every other coin in the world. That's the type of treasure that numismatists spend years searching for. The 1983 quarter also represents a fascinating period in American numismatics. The early 1980s were a time of innovation for the U.S. Mint, producing coins with high-quality strikes and attention to detail. Collectors today recognize that coins from this era combine historical significance with modern minting excellence. Holding a 1983 Washington quarter in flawless condition is like holding a piece of history frozen in time, a reminder of craftsmanship and precision that continues to impress collectors decades later. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. If you happen to have a 1983 Washington quarter dollar in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $115,100. Yes, that's right, $115,100 for a single 1983 Washington quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin once used for everyday purchases could now hold such extraordinary value. This is exactly why coin collecting is so thrilling. What seems ordinary in your pocket today could be a hidden fortune tomorrow. So, if you've got a collection of old coins, a jar of change, or even a few quarters lying around, take a closer look. Examine the edges, inspect the details, and see if you might be holding a coin that could change everything. Today, we're diving into a coin that might look ordinary to most people, but for collectors, it's nothing short of extraordinary: the Washington quarter dollar from 1980. At first glance, you might think it's just a typical quarter you've seen 1,000 times, but the truth is far more exciting. This coin carries history, artistry, rarity, and the potential for incredible value. Stick with me until the very end, because the number I'm about to reveal could make your jaw drop. Let's step back in time to 1980. America was experiencing a period of change and growth, with cultural shifts and economic developments that shaped the nation. The Washington quarter had been circulating for nearly 50 years at that point, a familiar and trusted piece of American currency. But 1980 was a particularly interesting year for collectors. Coins minted during this period were produced with attention to detail and quality, yet only a small percentage have survived in the pristine condition that collectors crave. That combination of historical significance and rarity makes the 1980 quarter one of the most intriguing coins from the late 20th century. Now, let's focus on the design, because every detail of a coin like this matters. On the obverse side, you'll see the classic portrait of George Washington, created by John Flanagan. The lines in his hair, the subtle contours of his face, and the precise lettering around the edges all contribute to the coin's aesthetic and historical value. Coins from 1980 that preserve this level of detail without wear or damage are exceptionally rare. Finding a Washington quarter in nearly perfect condition is like discovering a miniature piece of history, frozen in time exactly as it was minted. Turn the coin over, and you'll find the iconic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, flanked by olive branches. This design isn't just decorative, it's loaded with symbolism. The arrows represent strength and readiness, while the olive branches stand for peace. Coins that retain the sharpness of these features are highly prized by collectors because they show the coin in its purest form, just as it left the mint over 40 years ago. The clarity of the eagle's feathers, the arrows, and the branches can make a significant difference in the coin's value. Rarity plays a major role in why collectors covet the 1980 Washington quarter. Millions were minted that year, but the majority were used in everyday transactions, leaving countless coins scratched, dented, or worn down. Over time, the number of coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition has dwindled dramatically. For collectors, finding a 1980 quarter that still looks as fresh as the day it was struck is like discovering a hidden treasure. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of living history, a reminder of America in 1980, preserved perfectly in metal, and it gets even more interesting. Some 1980 Washington quarters have rare minting errors that make them exceptionally valuable. These could include coins struck slightly off-center, letters that are doubled, or tiny variations in the metal that occurred during production. While these errors might be subtle, they make the coin completely unique. Collectors actively hunt for these one-of-a-kind coins because they stand out from the millions of standard issues. Imagine holding a 1980 quarter that not only survived decades in flawless condition but also has a rare error that makes it truly one-of-a-kind. That's the kind of coin that can change a collection forever. The 1980 quarter also reflects a fascinating era in American numismatics. The early 1980s were a time when the U.S. Mint was producing coins with excellent craftsmanship, combining historical significance with modern minting precision. Holding a 1980 Washington quarter in perfect condition is like holding a tiny time machine in your hand. It connects us to the past, showcasing both the artistry of the mint and the everyday life of Americans over 40 years ago. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the value reveal. If you have a 1980 Washington quarter dollar in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $123,900. Yes, that's right, $123,900 for a single 1980 Washington quarter. It's amazing to think that a coin once used for small purchases like groceries or a cup of coffee could now hold such extraordinary value. That's the magic of coin collecting. What seems ordinary today could be tomorrow's hidden treasure. So, if you've got a jar of old coins, a forgotten collection, or a few quarters lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Examine every edge, inspect the details, and see if you might be holding a coin that could change your life. Today, we're taking a step back in time to explore a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but to collectors, it's nothing short of extraordinary: the Washington $quarter from 1965. To the casual eye, it might look like just another quarter, the kind of coin you've seen countless times in change. But hidden within its metal is a story of history, artistry, and incredible value that has been quietly growing for decades. Stick with me until the end, because the number I'm about to reveal will truly astonish you. Let's start with some historical context. The year 1965 was a pivotal moment in American history, and the Washington $quarter reflects that era. The United States was navigating a period of social change, economic growth, and cultural transformation. In terms of numismatics, 1965 marked a significant shift as the U.S. Mint transitioned from using silver in quarters to a clad composition of copper and nickel. This change alone makes coins from this year particularly interesting to collectors, because it represents a turning point in the history of American coinage. Coins from this transitional period carry not just monetary value, but historical significance, capturing a moment when the face of everyday currency changed forever. Now, let's focus on the design, because every detail matters when it comes to collecting. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll see the familiar profile of George Washington, crafted by John Flanagan. The portrait is timeless: the sculpting of his hair, the contours of his face, and the precision of the lettering around the edge all speak to the artistry and attention to detail of the U.S. Mint at that time. Coins from 1965 that retain this level of clarity and detail without wear or damage are incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Turning the coin over, you'll find the classic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, flanked by olive branches. This reverse design is not just decorative, it's symbolic. The arrows represent strength and readiness, while the olive branches symbolize peace. Coins from 1965 that preserve the sharpness of these features are highly sought after because they show the coin in its original, pristine state. Even small differences in the clarity of the feathers, arrows, or branches can have a major impact on the coin's value. Rarity plays a huge role in why the 1965 Washington $quarter has become so valuable. Millions of quarters were minted that year, but most were put into everyday circulation, passing through countless hands and gradually accumulating wear and tear. Over time, the number of coins that remain in uncirculated, pristine condition has dwindled dramatically. For collectors, finding a 1965 $quarter that still looks as crisp and detailed as it did when it left the mint is like discovering a hidden treasure. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of living history, a tangible connection to 1965, preserved perfectly for decades, and the story doesn't stop there. Some 1965 Washington $quarters feature rare minting errors that can dramatically increase their value. These might include off-center strikes, doubled lettering, or subtle variations in the metal composition. While these errors might be almost imperceptible to the casual eye, they make the coin one of a kind, and collectors go to great lengths to find them. Imagine holding a 1965 $quarter that not only survived in flawless condition but also has a rare minting error, making it completely unique. That's the kind of coin that can transform a collection and even change a collector's life. The 1965 $quarter also represents a fascinating era in American numismatics. The transition from silver to copper-nickel clad coins marked a major milestone in U.S. mint history. Coins from this period combine historical significance, artistic craftsmanship, and the thrill of rarity. Holding a 1965 Washington $quarter in perfect condition is like holding a tiny time capsule. It connects us to a specific moment in American history, showcasing both the artistry of the mint and the everyday life of Americans more than 50 years ago. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. If you happen to have a 1965 Washington $quarter in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $187,800. Yes, that's right, $187,800 for a single 1965 Washington $quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin once used for small purchases like groceries or a cup of coffee could now hold such extraordinary value. This is exactly why coin collecting is so thrilling. What seems ordinary today could be tomorrow's hidden treasure. So, if you have a jar of old coins, a forgotten collection, or even just a few quarters lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Examine every detail, check the edges, and see if you might be holding a coin that could change everything. And if you enjoyed exploring this fascinating piece of American history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to USA Coins 69, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another amazing coin discovery. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy hunting and happy collecting, because the next coin you hold could be worth far more than you ever imagined.